Hello and welcome back to Maximum Power Up. Again, as usual, I'm Paul, and today I'm talking about a different magazine. One of my favourites growing up, and basically it was the only weekly magazine, and that is Games X, that run from 1991 to 1992. It only lasted 48 issues, so it didn't really last that long, and seem to recall it coming out every Thursday. Um, so sort of in its lifespan, it covered over 16-bit computers and also the 8-bit computers still, but also at the time the console market was starting to really get a lot more popular with the Super Nintendo and the Mega Drive, so it did sort of cover a proper wide range of stuff. And one of the best things about it, it was a really cheap magazine. I think when it first started it was about 60p, and even by the end of its lifespan it was only, well, 75. This one that I'm looking at here is issue 44, and yeah, it just say every Thursday, so I'm not losing my marbles on that. So just having a quick look at this one. Like I say, it's from end of February, start of March 1992. Big story on the cover here is Zool, that most Amiga fans will recognise. Zool was obviously going to be the big platforming hero for the Amiga. Sega had Sonic, Nintendo had Mario, so it was a case of Amiga wanting a big platform star, because at the time the Amiga was a really, really popular computer. Loads of magazines on the market, loads of that came with demo discs and just packed full of new games all the time. But we'll touch upon Amiga a little later. Anyway, looking at Games X, let's say every week for a magazine was quite remarkable for the time. But you start off like any magazine, just with your contents, news stories here. Just having a quick look, there's nothing that's jumping out too much. A little bit here about the Atmosphere board game. Some of you may have played that before with the old video cassette and having to go around the board. You've also got, so a quick look here, this is one thing that I did like a lot, all the different charts by having multi-format, budget charts, the 8-bit machines in the earlier issues as well. You got like the Atari ST chart, the Amiga, because at the time I still had the ST. I'd not gone on to console gaming. You also have here, just flick through, again like I've said so many times, loads of games done there by Special Reserve, the biggest mail order company at the time, back in the 90s. The big thing here was selling the Game Gear for $99.99, and I also got the free Special Reserve membership and a adapter to obviously charge it, because the Game Gear got through batteries quite quickly. Moving then on really to reviews. A game that I've never played on the Amiga, some of you may have done though, a game called Black Crypt. Looks quite a lot like Dungeon Master. Obviously one of my favourite games of all time. So I was quite surprised that I actually never got around to playing that. With Games X, rated everything out of X's, 5 X's being the best, then breaking down to like gameplay, lastability and presentation. So like more or less top marks there. You also had, I do a couple of games that I do remember. Degeneration, again, I think that's the PC review of it, and also Pinball Dreams. Pinball Dreams and Pinball Fantasies on the Amiga were absolutely fantastic. Everything just seemed to work really well. It's quite a long time since I've played them on the Amiga, but I've played them on Super Nintendo and they are nowhere near as good. It's just something totally lacking. Just moving on a little bit. Here we have, because like I said, the consoles were starting to get more popular, so they gave the consoles their own little section. So here we have one of the big Mega Drive games at the time, Desert Strike, giving it 5 out of 5. I'm not surprised, because Desert Strike was absolutely fantastic when that came out. Obviously going on to then do Jungle Strike and Soviet Strike. Urban Strike should have said. Soviet Strike and Nuclear Strike were a bit later on in the series. Moving on again, they also didn't just cover, you know, your Super Nintendo and Mega Drive. They also covered the PC Engine. So here you've got review for Ninja Gaiden. PC Engine console I never actually played, even all these years on. I really should make an effort to at least try it, you know, like when I'm at one of these games events. Also reviewing a couple of joysticks here for the Mega Drive. Great for shoot 'em ups, definitely. I've got myself one similar to this, but not exactly the same. Although saying that, I very rarely use the joysticks. I tend to just stick to a Mega Drive pad. And then there's a review here for Rolling Thunder 2, a game that I've never actually played myself. I've only ever played the first one, which used to play quite a lot on the Atari ST. Moving on, you've got quite aptly named Tipp-Ex, again, goes with the name of the magazine. A few tips here, you know, again, with no internet back then, this was great, especially weekly cheats. The only other time that you get close to that was really, you know, when you had Digitizer and on Teletext, you know, you get a few cheats on there. Just again, moving on, player's guide here for Another World, a game that loads of you will have played and does get quite tough in places. Recently had its 20th anniversary edition. I say recently, you know, a few years back now. Again, it's still a really good game. It's just, it was needed, the guide, you know, especially for me, quite a lot. I have it here for Amiga Action. I will have a look at a couple of Amiga Action magazines later down the line. And then again, chock full of reviews. 2 pages there of budget reviews. So just have a quick look there. Again, most of them for, you know, the Amiga and ST. So you got like Super Off-Road, which was a really good game. Ghouls and Ghosts. Down here, Shadow Warriors, which I played fairly recently, but I just can't get into it anymore at all. You've also got the original James Pond. I've recently bought Robocod on the Mega Drive. I've not played the original James Pond now for quite a while, so it's something that I could do with just trying again. Then you've just got your usual things like your letters page, and then there's this thing, Street Talk, where they go around to computer shops around the country and speak to customers, see what they're buying, you know, what they plan to buy. And this time it was over in a place right near me called Walkden, just out of Manchester. I used to work in Walkden when I worked at a game station, and this computers and consoles shop had gone by 2004 when I worked over there. But I think just at some of these pictures, you can tell it's quite dated. Here, Gary Booth, age 28. I don't think he'll probably look like that anymore. Same with Wayne up here. I think it just shows the time the magazine came out. And then right towards the end of the magazine, we've got a 2-page special all about Zool. I've not played it on Amiga for a long time. I have played it on the Sega Mega Drive, and I don't mind it. You know, it's quite fast paced and everything like that. And then right towards the end, we've just got, you know, the next week page where we're going to be looking at Team 17. Obviously, they did a load of big games back in the 90s. But like I say, that's issue 44 of Games X, unless a few more weeks. And then it seemed to, I don't know how many of the staff went on to make GB Action, but that was like the next cheap magazine, you know, they started advertising GB Action coming soon, and yeah, that soon hit the shelves. And then obviously just had a whole range of these 99p magazines, you know, your Super Action, things like that, which then just led to the whole shelves just being full of magazines, some great, some not so great. As quickly mentioned before, I will be talking about Amiga magazines. I've got a few knocking about now. So this again from 1992. I'm not going to go into it now because it's quite a hefty read there, 120 odd pages. By the time like Amiga Action finished, I think it went down to about 40. I'm pretty sure it went inside, you know, like another magazine, like a lot of them did. I remember the same thing happening to ST Action because I used to buy that. but it just shows how popular the Amiga was at the time, you know, full of stuff, full of reviews and everything like that. So I will be obviously covering a couple of Amiga magazines and really, well, thinking back to times where I played some of these games, bought some of the games and everything like that. Okay, like I say, that was a quick look at Games X magazine from 1992. Alright, join us next time. I'll be looking at, you know, more games, magazines and just general chat. Thanks a lot. Bye.